Welcome to today's video. Should you whale for Aizen? No, I'm just kidding. Should you summon for Aizen? We are not whaling here. I am free to play friendly. Even though I am whaling, this is mostly done because I want to see the difference between a free to play account, which is my alternate account, and the account where you spend about 50 to 100 bucks a month on the character. I'm not going to go too much into the specifics. I will do an account review later on both accounts actually, and just show the difference of free-to-play and low spenders. We all know how the high spenders look like because we have awesome content creators who do this for us, and gladly so that we can see how the top end performs, right? But when we talk about summoning, we are having limited resources. We cannot summon every character. At best we can summon on one character and we can get one weapon stamp, right? So, with this in mind, the question is, should you summon for Aizen? And this is mostly for free-to-play people and low spenders. Because the thing is, of course, Aizen is phenomenal. I'm not gonna stand here and argue against it. I'm not gonna try to discredit what Aizen brings to the kit. And I'm not gonna discredit what Aizen does, right? But the reality of the thing is, if he's not your favorite character, like always, if he's not a character that you enjoy playing in the trial, should you summon for him? And the answer will always be no. This is a gacha, this is a long-term project that you should have. You should see it from a long-term perspective, maybe characters down the line. If you want to have a character be really good, then you want to invest as much resources into it as possible. Because the difference in damage from a B0 Aizen to a B6 Aizen is millions apart, literally. So, by this standard, right, we have to look what is the value that you get when you try to pull for Aizen. Long story short, he's an amazing tactician. He is multi-role in the sense that you can use him as a normal tactician, right? You can switch into him, you can switch out of him, but you can use him as a full assault DPS too. Before we jump into his gacha in itself, one of the major things though that I have to address is this. He is super complicated. I will do a class guide, a character guide, sorry, about him later on. It should be coming out tomorrow or on the 26th. That's my Christmas present. It's a fairly big video, so I hope you enjoy this, as I'm going fairly in depth. Regardless, he's fairly complicated. Even just his battlefield skill alone, he has 3 different perks on it. He has on-field effects, he has off-field effects, a bunch of self-sustaining stuff. He provides really important debuffs for himself, like the Ravage debuff, which increases the spirit resistance downs. He provides himself with spirit damage, a whole bunch of slew of debuffs, and this is super important because of how the damage is calculated in this game. The game calculates everything multiplicatively, so you want to have as many multipliers as you can get, right? And the DPS that you will see is everything is done with this weapon stamp. I'm not using his own weapon stamps. I'm not using his own core. I'm using the fairly high level set stamps though. And like I said, I will go into character guide in here, but you will see it in the video that ultimate charge rate for him is fantastic. One of the most underrated stat, I would say, in the game. You always see these character guides and builds with crit damage, attack, crit rate, but in his case, just to go over his boundary real quick, crit rate only really applies as a main stat once you get to B6. Once you're at B6, his crit rate goes through the roof and it's basically Bankai Ichigos, right? His B1 and his B2, to just go into this real quick, is mostly for support, to increase the support. Having increased battlefield scale gains into energy, applying more Kurohitsugis, allows you to have an increased uptime. That's the word I'm looking for. You have the increased uptime on Ravage, which decreases the spirit damage resistance. No, I'm sorry, the all damage resist, which is super important because this means he can get slotted everywhere and he will work. As you can see, I'm not sure if I'm showing this right now, but you will see the video of me doing damage comparisons between this and the quote-unquote second best team. even though that's debatable. So with that, all that said, he's super complicated, and on mobile, in my experience, I don't have footage for it because I don't know how to set this up. I'm sorry for that. But on mobile, his rotation is super tight. And if you cannot click it on it, you can lose a lot of damage, and especially when you do feast or the endgame content. In my experience, you kind of need every single point of damage that you can get to overcome, like somebody who spends a little bit of money or has dupes in him or however, right? Who is stronger technically speaking on the sheet, right? So his rotation is super tight. That said, does his banner have value? Is it worth to pull for him with these two characters in here as featured characters? And I would say 100% yes. If there is one character that you don't want to have but you should have, is him. He is so vital for all the mentioned reasons of applying resistance downs, applying multipliers on top of multipliers, and because he has a battlefield skill which gives all damage type 30% damage, which you don't have. Not only that, but the added value to him is that you only have to build him up. You don't have to build up Komamura, you don't have to build up Byakuya, you don't have to build up Tozen if you don't want to build up Tozen, even though you should, because he's fantastic. And I really hope that people get dupes into him, because his longevity will be insane. And another part is also, even if you get these characters, Shika Ichigo is not the best. To me, he's not really fun, and he doesn't hold a lot of value. Orihime is clunky to play with. She is great support, and if you have a Toshiro with 0 support, 0 stamps, 0 nothing, she's a really good stand-in. The main reason is because she has a super armor, and she provides non-interruptible basic attacks to Toshiro, increasing his Ice Dragon dive uptime and his damage that he deals with it, right? So there is some value into it, even though maybe you don't go out of your way to build them, especially if you build Orihime. She is fine at field for level 40, 50, around about there. Much higher there is no real issue, no real reason to go up there, because her heals keep her alive long enough, and she's not a battlefield character, so you won't have to switch into her too often. So not much added value there if you bring her high enough. She has a passive, the attack passive, which increases attack, but even then that's just like 3 to 4% increase. It's still not enough to bring her up to level 80 or even to level 90. Don't do that. Maybe 60, maybe. If you feel like you're suffering a lot in taking damage and you don't have much of sustain, then bring her up. With that said, absolutely pull for him, but, and this is my big but, if you pull for him, make sure you get his weapon. I feel like this is a common theme. It was the case for Bichigo, it was the case for Toshiro, that his weapon is not crucial, because in terms of DPS in itself, it increases the team DPS by about 10 to 15%, same as the stamp. But the problem is that once you have his stamp and you bring both together, the damage multiplication increase is so high that you basically, you increase your damage by 50%. At least 40%. And not only that, you improve his support ability for anything not spirit, because you cycle so much faster through his rotation that you keep up the stacks way better, and it just balloons the damage. Okay, so he's fantastic, but here, especially here, you could skip Toshiro's weapon, but this one you cannot skip whatsoever. Forget the crit rate. It's nice to have, but forget the crit rate. Super vital to have this, just to speed up the rotation. With that said though, I have one little surprise, and I will keep this for the end for this part of the video, because I think it's really cool that we have this provided already, but I will spoiler tag this for people who don't want to see this. That's why I'm talking for a little bit, for 10 seconds about this. It is a spoiler about the upcoming character, right? We will see the summon animation and we will see the animations by itself. I will keep this uncommented. just enjoy the video, have fun with it. Let me know in the comment down below if you're hyped for the character, how you like the animations, what do you think his skill set will be like, are the leaks true, are they not? Let me know. If you liked the video, please comment down below, leave a sub, leave a like, and I will be looking forward to bring you the guide for Aizen. See you then, and happy holidays. Bye.
挽回神死にの槍